Healing with a black man is literally a gift from God. Sis, I've got some things I want to share, and I'm going to encourage you now to tag some sisters to share this broadcast. I'm going to spend some moments on it because it's something that I've never really talked about, but I'm discovering something that I think will help you and support you and empower you to attract, nurture, and grow with a black man who is worthy of your love. Okay? So I'm gonna sit, this is gonna take a couple of rotations. This is gonna be kind of deep. And I'm walking through it slow, okay? So I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm going to encourage you to stay with me because I'm distinguishing it as I articulate it, okay? But please tag, share. This is important. I don't think as black women, and I would venture to say women in general, I don't think that we really comprehend our power when it comes to our men, okay? And so it's profound to me. We were me and my bae, I call him Mr. Mine. He and I were going to dinner, okay? And we were in downtown LA. And I found this soul food restaurant that I wanted to share with him, right? And before we went, and I want you to hear this, this is deep. Before we went, we talked about me, him allowing, and I'll handle it in a minute, allowing me to treat him. You see what I'm saying? And so I don't get with my guy, I don't get to spend my money. Okay? He's not that kind of dude. He won't have it. And so when I want to do things, I have to talk to him about it so he understands that it's a love offering. Okay? And also he lets me, and notice I said a let and allow, keep those my words in mind. He lets me how can I say, tend to his well-being. I get to nurture him, right? And it's fun for me. So we had an agreement. I could get the soul food, okay? So we drive across town in LA and we end up in a black neighborhood, right? And both of us come from humble beginnings. So let's be clear, he and I have very similar um, upbringing. It's just different. I'm East Coast, he's West Coast, right? And so he was just reminiscing about being in an old neighborhood and all that kind of stuff, right? And when we got there, it was after church, and all my peoples were out, and Happy was with us. And I forget, and this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I forget I'm rich. I don't have a value on it. As far as I'm concerned, my resource, I'm a good steward of my resource. I hold everything that I have. This is God's. I don't think it's mine. I didn't do shit. God got it, right? And so, um, and I have a Mercedes-Benz C300, all right? I don't think about it. To me, it's a car, all right? And because he lives in Orange County and I live in LA, it just made more sense for me to drive. That's just logical. It's my town. And so we're riding and he's reminiscing. We get to the soul food restaurant. I had screwed the order. Oops. So we had to wait in line and start over, right? And so he comes and he's like, me and Happy, there's Happy. Me and Happy were in line. He said, he texted me, do you want me to come stand with you? I'm like, absolutely. He comes and stands with me, and I have a convertible, right? And so he said, do you want me to put the convertible on? I said, yes. He said, how do I do it? And I said, you push this button, you do that button. And then I got flustered because I didn't know how to tell him. I said, well, you'll figure it out because I think he's brilliant. He goes, he gets the car down, right? And he comes back, stands in line, and we're about to get food. I'm about to buy food. I think I'm in the clear because we talked about it. Okay, we talked about it. And I go into my purse, I coach bag. I forget that too. I take out my wallet, I take out my card, and he says, I got this. Now, every bit of black independent woman in me was like, what the fuck is this? What just happened? What just happened? Didn't we talk about this before we left? So now I feel punked in front of everybody. And I looked at him and I was about to start talking. And I was about to say some shit. And y'all know I would. But I looked in his eyes, girl. Have you ever seen somebody's soul by looking in their eyes? Have you ever seen that happen yet? It's kind of bad. It's kind of crazy. And I saw something that I hadn't anticipated. And what I saw was a level of vulnerability that I didn't even know was on deck, right? And so he said, I will pay for this. I will take care of this. And I felt my strong, independent black woman self thinking about saying something. And I looked at all of the people who were watching us. We were at the pay thingy thing. We were picking it up to take it home, right? And I was like, I saw their eyes on him and I saw their eyes on me. And I realized, sis, in that moment, I knew that if I said anything, 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 it would hurt him very deeply. And I couldn't stand the idea of him being hurt for my pride. Do you understand? Like, I'm proud of my ability to take care of myself. I'm proud that I don't need a man. I'm proud that I can pay my bills. I'm proud that I'm a CEO. I'm proud I'm a badass. I'm proud of being a boss. You know what I'm saying? And part of my identity is I don't need you. Because I don't, right? But in that moment, I could see that here was this man standing with his girlfriend in front of the world. And what he needed in that moment was for me to empower his power. And so I did. I turned my back, I picked up my dog. He paid for the food. We walked around the corner. I'm like, what the hell just happened? What the fuck is this? And he's like, oh, what are you talking about? And he just kind of breezed it off. I'm like, dude, you just flexed on me. You just flexed so hard on me. I said, I look like this little, in my language, street language, I look like a little punk ass bitch. He said, no, you didn't. I said, yes, I did. He said, no, you didn't. And so my mouth, I got a mouth on me. And I'm like, look, this is what happened. Da, 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 da. And he paused, girl. I don't know if you had this happen yet, but it's kind of sexy. He paused, he looked at me, and he said, you are my woman. Now, I got a little moist by that, but that's not the point. The thing is, I never ever considered how it was for him, right? And so I fell back and we had our therapy. We do couples counseling. We do couples therapy together, right? I don't see y'all sharing. I don't see y'all tagging. This is a big conversation. I encourage you to please get this out there, all right? Because a lot of black women would have missed the moment and it would have been damaging in a way that is not recoverable. But we were talking to our therapist, and he was recounting because I told on him. I said he flexed on me in front of the world. That's what he just did, and he got to share his side. And this is the way he said it. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's some version of we're driving in this and he said this Mercedes Benz C300 convertible through my old neighborhood, and I'm the passenger. First and foremost, he's never said that. He lives in Orange County. Do you understand? He's a man of means. Does that make sense? He has worked hard in his life to be able to take care of his family, right? But he's never said that. So when we're in Orange County, we we ride in my car by virtue of I'm independent and I feel like I should be. He lets me be independent. So he grants me that grace when we're together. And so it's just it's so but in Orange County there's a lot of rich white people. Does it make sense? So it didn't even show up. But in his old neighborhood, in the hood, in front of all the black people who come to soulful restaurants after church looking, that I didn't catch that. I didn't and I never thought about it because I don't hold my resource as anything other than God's, right? And so that blew my brain. And then he said that when we were at the window talking about the convertible, I had said, "Oh, you'll figure it out." In his world, fill me on this, sis. In his world, I diminished him. I brushed him off. Now the truth is, I actually did brush him off, but I didn't brush him off because I was talking down to him. I brushed him off because I didn't know how to tell him how to do it. And I do trust that he could figure it out, right? But in the context of all eyes on us, right? It landed in his world a certain way. And then when we got to the payment, to do the payment thing, pay for the food, it was like, and this is the thing I need you to hear, sis, because this is why I want to talk to you about this shit, because it's dope. When I took out my money, he said that and this is, again, I'm paraphrasing, but some version of, I will not be a kept man. And I was like, what? So it told me something. And the reason why I'm bringing it is because I don't think as black women, we are really cultivated in honoring that black men have wounds that that are directly related to how we see them. Does it make sense? I'm gonna slow it down to break it down in a moment, right? But when we were talking it through, and he said that, I understood that what we've been calling pride or ego is not that at all. It's not. You can make it that if you want to make it that, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is a sense of identity that's rooted in how he sees himself through my eyes. Do you understand? I mean, say it a different way, make it more plain. My view of him matters to him. You understand? And he can't be with the idea that I would see him as a freeloader, as someone who couldn't take care of me. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't traffic in that world. I don't. It's not my thing. All right. I don't traffic in that world because I don't see myself that way. But the more I allow myself to be loved by him, the more I heal my own wounds around my father, the more he advocates for us growing together. And he does the emotional vulnerability to make it safe for me to be vulnerable. I am discovering I have behaviors that really just would trigger any black man. Do you understand? Just that would just create chaos, right? But what I want you to hear is this: as I heal, all right, and it's an intentional healing. I'm purposely healing my father wound. I'm healing historical wounds through my lived experience, and because of the background I have, street violence. Y'all know the whole story. And if you don't, it's here. Um, I'm starting to understand how very little consideration I've had for black men, how very little compassion I've had for black men, and how little tolerance I have for their humanity because I have privileged my pain over his pain. You see what I'm saying? And as I mature emotionally in relationship, what I am discovering is, and this is one of my therapist things, she wants us to create boundaries together because boundaries actually have things work. What I'm discovering is that I've been so focused on my wounds, I have not put any attention on his. I've been so benefiting from him tending to my needs. I have not put my attention on his. I treat my clients better than I treat my boyfriend. I'm more conscious and considerate with my clients than I am with my boyfriend. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not no harm, no foul. I'm not mad about it. I'm not tripping off of it. But what I'm trying to say is when what I'm discovering, loving a black man requires that I get out of my world and get into his. Now, let me say this. I'm not talking about black men who are not on your side. So please, sis, don't hear that. And for the brothers who are listening, know that I love you. And thank you for being with me. I'm not suggesting you, I'm not talking about somebody who's so wounded that they hurt people. That's not what I'm talking about. So please do not make this about all black men. And please don't make, that's not this. Please, that's not this. Okay, don't do that. I'm not saying go save a hoe. I'm not so turn into a project nigga. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying turn him into a project. That's not what I'm pointing to. None of that matters to me right now. What I'm out to have you hear is something profound, is that as black women, we have had the luxury of having permission to be vulnerable, to tell the truth, to get support groups, to go to therapy, to do self-help, and black men have none of that. They don't have any social position. They have no social permission to actually do the necessary self-reflective work to heal. They ain't got no permission. At best, they can go to jail and be self-reflective because they can read books. But as black women, we have a lot of permission, a lot of support, really, to gather, to cry, to tell the truth, to witness each other. And they do not. So when a black man loves you and chooses you, okay, and he is being with you, what I am discovering in my own lived experience is I become a safe space for him to tell the truth and look and see things that he never had the space to see or look at. Okay, y'all know I'm real big on self-care. I'm real big on wellness, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial wellness. All of it matters. So I advocate for that with you. That is my shit. My sisters will have their paper. They'll be economically and emotionally free. That is what I do, right? I had never thought about that for my men. Not because I don't love them, but because I think they won't listen to me. I really don't think they'll go. I feel like black men listen to black men. I don't think they listen to black women, right? And I'm wrong. Because when a black man loves you and he's safe, he can show you or demonstrate his wounds, his vulnerabilities, such that he has a space to be self reflective. I'm not healing him, I'm healing with him. That was preach, Jesus. Let me say, I'm not healing him. That's between him and God. Okay? I'm healing with him. I'm healing my behaviors that leave him but diminished such that he has to flex. You see what I'm saying? If I had mouthed off at him, which is in me to do, in that moment, he would have had to escalate in some capacity or acquiesce. You see what I'm saying? And that would have hurt his sense of self. And given my independence, my fierce independence, it's in me to do that. You know what I'm saying? But as I mature emotionally, I'm starting to understand the sacredness of my space for him. And I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that I was a safe space and a sacred space for him to be self reflective, for him to tell the truth, for him to stumble and fall without criticism or judgment. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I know that from my clients. I know that as a businesswoman, but I didn't know that with my boo. I didn't understand that. So as I'm growing, what I want to share with you, sis, is I'm discovering my power as a woman. I am. I'm 50. I have not been raised in this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, really? If I, my words, my actions, my way of talking has impacted his sense of self. And I have bought into society's expectations and sexism against black men, which is you should know, you should care, you should take care of, you should have this together. I bought into that and I'm wrong. I'm fucking wrong. I'm wrong. He is a human being who has fears, concerns, wounds, and needs that society and myself as a black woman have not made room for because he's a man. It's very it's unfortunate, and it's not, and that's not, I'm not willing to do that. So I'm inviting you, sis, and I'm going to stop now. I'm going to put it on pause and see what y'all think. I'm interested to know, are you willing to heal with him? That's different. He's doing his healing, I'm doing my healing. But I'm asking you to start think through, are you willing to heal with him and start to look through, how can I empower his power in such a way that is authentic, that is kind, that leaves him with the best of himself, that's not ego. I'm not talking about stroking the ego. I'm not talking about sucking his dick. I'm not talking about, doing what he says. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is something very specific, is empowering his power. And I don't mean obedience. I mean getting over in his world, seeing things from his perspective instead of insisting he see them from yours, right? And seeing how this will land in his world. That is like we do it with our clients. I am a beast when it comes to money because I get into other people's worlds. And I actually enjoy doing that. But I have to cognitively get into his world, imagine what it's like for him, consider him, such that I actually am taking actions and using language that actually empowers his power as a man who loves me, not as a role, not as a distinction, not as an expectation. And that is emotional maturity. And I would tell you this, sis, if you take it on, if you take this on with all the men in your life, whatever race, okay, and you take on empowering their power from what they value, from what they need, they will walk through fucking fire for you. They will slay fucking dragons. They will conquer mountains. They will lay the stars at your fucking feet for doing just that. And I mean that. And I need you to hear that because we don't talk like that. We do not. I'm not talking about acquiescing. I can't acquiesce. It's not in me. I won't. I don't acquiesce. I can't. It goes against my religion. Okay. What I can do is have empathy and compassion for another human being that I haven't been trained to have empathy and compassion for because he's a man, because he's a black man, because he's strong. That's all socialization. That's all smokescreen. That's one of the ways that we stay apart, is we have expectations of what he should do and that he should tend to us. How come we don't tend to him? And I don't mean obedience. I'm not obedient. Fuck you. I'm never going to be obedient. But I can honor that which I love. I honor him like I honor my mom. I'm not obedient to Nana. Nana wouldn't even require it. But I can see her world and I can adapt to her and give her what she needs so that she's honored and loved and appreciated and supported because she's my mom. She got me up off the streets. No one's ever going to take Nana's place. So what I'm pointing to is, are you willing to heal with him? And it's okay if you don't, but you won't have his loyalty. You won't have his cover. You won't have his protection. And you won't have his fucking provision. You won't have it because he won't feel safe enough to give it to you because you will squander it. And I'm not talking about women who are being tricky. I'm not talking about users or gold diggers. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm talking about a human being that we have been trained to ignore. We've been trained to treat black men the way white men treat black men. We do. And I'm not even saying it as a judgment. I'm saying it as a fucking revelation. Like, oh, damn, I'm as bad as the police emotionally. You see what I'm saying? And I want y'all, it's interesting. I'm noticing that the numbers are going down and up. It's so fascinating that when it comes to something like empowering the black men in our lives, it's not as sexy as other things, whether it's money or sex or power or whatever. And if we're out to communicate, if we're out to heal, if we're out to really have us thrive as a people, why is it not as interesting to you to share or post or tag? I don't understand that. I'm gonna tell you this. We will not make it without them. Black women, we will not make it without them. And if you think we will, then you're not in reality, because white supremacy, system of oppressions, racism, privilege is designed to keep us enslaved. And I'm not going to be free until you're free. I'm not going to be free until he's free. So I take it serious. It's real for me. I don't think my mother could have done it. I don't think my grandmother could have done it because the structures were so loud back then. But we can. We can actively take on healing so we don't react to their reactions. And we can actually take on healing with them for those who are willing to do the real fucking work. I'm not saying all black men. I'm saying the ones who are willing to heal. And you have to decide as a black woman if you're willing to mature emotionally in a relationship that has taught us generationally that black men ain't shit. And it's not the truth of them. They're wounded. And I'm not saying you need to be a punching bag or you need to tolerate some bullshit. I'm not saying none of that. I can't even pretend to tolerate it. Y'all know how the street in me won't fucking let it. It won't happen, okay? But what I am saying is, if you want to attract the kind of man who's worthy of your love, who will honor you, who will give you space, who will grow with you, you have to really take on your behaviors in terms of what you've been socialized to do and believe about black men. And if you don't take it on, then you won't have that outcome. You'll be all black men are trifling, all black men are dogs, black men ain't shit, because that is what we say. And we pull forth that in our language. We pull forth that behavior and we put up a wall, or at least I have, that actually has them have to be defensive and prove themselves. And they've already been trained by that by white people and white supremacy. Okay? So I don't know if you're going to take to this one or not because I can't tell. Okay, and I can't see comments, so I must have done something and I don't know what's happening because I know you're here, but I don't know where the comments at, and I missed the comments, so I must have done something with it. But my point is, I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you're willing to heal with him instead of putting the weight on him. You know what I'm saying? He's never going to let me pay for him. I realize that now. Okay, ever. Look. I'm gonna say this, God, and I'm gonna try to stop. I don't have TVs. I'm not interested in that. I actually live below my means intentionally because I'm a good steward of my resource. And he decided I need a TV. I don't need a TV. But he wanted me to have one. I'm like, dude, it's not necessary. And I had to be okay with this is how he loves you. Let him get a TV. Okay? So I have a TV now. He thinks I need to have another TV that's bigger. So I don't have to, like, I'm like, I don't need, I'm like, you don't say it. There's something he's trying to express with me with this. You understand? He's trying to give me something. He's trying to take care of me. And I don't understand it. I don't understand this at all. But also, given that I'm moving into television, all the stuff that I'm doing, it's good. I should have a TV. I should look at TV, right? Not that I'm going to look at TV, but he's trying to take care of me. And I could fight him on that because I don't agree with I don't see the value in it. But what if I took on seeing the value in having a television? What if I took on seeing the value of he's trying to give me something that he thinks will make a difference for me? And what if I let myself be open to that? Literally, what if I just let myself be open to, B? Maybe in this age, you should have two televisions. Let's see what happens and try it. And let him love me his way. Okay? And that's important because it matters to him. All right? And so I'm learning how to empower him in what he sees for me. And that's a new language, that's a new thing. But what I'm discovering is the more I do that, the more he relaxes into my love. The more he can hear my wisdom. The more he asks for my advice. And given that I'm a fucking genius, I think it's a good thing that he is comfortable enough with me as a really generous, kind, alpha, gentleman guy to allow me to contribute. So let me say this to you, sis. One of the things I've discovered and I'm going to stop at thank God, and we'll see what the Lord says, is I am organized around running shit. Okay? I am. I'm a fucking boss. All right? He's organized around running shit. Boss. What we have had to negotiate is who is the boss and what arenas. Okay? So we have talked it through. He has his therapist. I have our therapist. We go to our corners. We come back and we do our thing together. We have determined in what arenas I I run shit and where I allow shit. And he's the same with me, just different. Okay. There are things like I'm a what they would call an aggressive femme. Okay. In queer culture, I'm an aggressive femme. So I'm a boss, and that's never leaving. All right. If he's an alpha and I'm an aggressive femme, that could be a clash, right? But we've aligned on that there are places where I allow him to be the boss of me, and he allows me to be the boss of him. So there's an allowing, that we are literally allowing each other to do something, right? And what I've discovered about that is when it's an allowing, that is a level of honor. It's not domination, because I don't want to be dominated. No one can boss me. So if I'm allowing him to get TVs for me, he hears that as an honoring. Does that make sense? I can't see any chats. I hate it. I don't know what I did that I don't see chats. I hate this part. But I want to hear from you. I want to see, tell me what you think about that. And it's actually made the biggest difference because it cut down a lot of friction, in terms of us in our exchanges, because I allow him to take care of me. It's an allowing. I don't need him to take care of me. I allow him to. You see what I'm saying? And that's a gift I'm giving him. He's allowing me, or he almost allowed me to get dinner, but he allows me to tend to him. You see what I'm saying? That's him. That's a gift he gives me. It changes the dynamic. And I want you to know that the actions in that dynamic are honoring, not oppressive. Does it make sense? My prayer is that you're fed by this, sis. I pray that you're fed by this. I can't tell because I don't see comments, but I'm pretty confident I did something wrong, okay, in the setup of this. I just wanted to share with you. So that's all. I'm stop here. Um, I'm gonna write something about it, but my point is we have power with Black men. We have power. They value how we see them, and they measure how we talk to them, because that tells them how we see them. If we see them as, like, I see my guy, he's magnificent. He's magnificent. He's bold and he's brave. He's a little boy and he's a grown ass man. He's kind and he's proud. He's brilliant and he gets nervous sometimes. And he lets me love him. He lets me heal with him. He allows me to see him when he thinks he's not at his best. He trusts me with his secrets. He trusts me with his dreams. And he inspires me. He inspires me. I learn so much from him. I learn from his example. I learn from his grace. I learn from his rigor. I learn from his mercy. So I speak to that which I see him as. I don't speak to where he drops the ball. I don't speak to my unfulfilled expectations. And I have, but I'm training myself to speak life into him. I'm training myself to grant him grace and have the psychological dexterity, the psychological flexibility to not be rigorous when what's needed is wonder and kindness. And I have to heal to do that. I can't bring my wounds from other relationships in my past into a fresh space and think it's going to flourish. I have to tend to that. And I'm tending to it with myself, but also with him, so we grow together. You see? But you are the person that sets the tone in the relationship. And when you get grumpy and you get mad and you close your heart off, he doesn't have any place. He has nowhere else to go. Where he gonna? He ain't got no boy support. He ain't got no man support group. You see what I'm saying? Where you gonna go? You know what I'm saying? On Facebook and talk about it. He ain't got nowhere to go. There's no social place for him. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying that you are sacred and you are holy for the men in your life. And if you learn to really speak life and empower their power based on how they see themselves through your eyes, they will become it. They will become it. So instead of speaking death and famine over him, speak life and not ego, but speak who you see him as and only relate to him like that and see how it goes and let me know. Okay? All right, sis. Thanks for hearing me out. I missed the comments. I so miss you. I'm like, okay, I hope y'all talking. Um, Prayerfully, this is useful to you. If you were fed by this word, this life-giving word, this life-affirming word, please pay it forward. Please pay it forward. And thank God I'm going into television because there's nowhere else. I'm like, good Jesus. There's so much we could win at if we actually had the space and the opportunity set to think through and see it, as Black women, how to really win in this world. And we don't have, well, it's coming. Give me a minute on it. Give me a minute on it. Give me a minute on it. Okay. But please share this video. Okay. Um, and let me know your thoughts. Okay. I love you, sis. I love you, bro. For all my brothers who are covering me, I love you. I thank God for you. Um, Thank you for loving on me all these years, um, and helping me have an empowering relationship to Black masculinity because you're so good to me. You know what I'm saying? You created a safe space for me to really start to contend with my father wound and start to heal such that I could receive the love of a Black man. And that's because I have Black men and I have Black male truth tellers who love on me and support me on a regular. And a lot of people don't have that. A lot of Black women don't have that. A lot of influencers don't have that. A lot of thought leaders don't have that. A lot of content creators don't have that. I have that. I have a Black man cohort. Black Moors, Hotep, faith-based, atheists. Oh, I have a whole cohort. And I just want you to know I love you and I thank you for walking with me and covering me and protecting me. Okay? And for all my allies, thank you for being with me. I love you, girl. I love you, bro. Fam, it's all good. God is faithful. And thanks for spending Thursday with me. This is Dr. Venus, your hot mess millionaire. Please share this video and goodbye for now.